Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are on Earth. Hopefully, you're in North America or Canada because this is kind of aimed at you guys. Yes, I'm British and I will be, doing the Office Trivia 50 question. I keep wanting to say quiz. We say quiz in the UK. I know you probably don't know what a quiz is, but it's kind of what middle-aged guys do in pubs in England, drinking pints of beer. You guys are cooler and do trivia, so that's what we're going to do today. And yeah, it's quite difficult actually. I need to pause that. This is the first one I've done, so obviously I'm quite nervous about it, but the content seems good, the questions are difficult, and it's engaging. It's not probably something you want to do on your own, or you can do if you want to test yourself. But it's definitely one to do as a group of friends. And yeah, so the way it works is you just heard a bit of the timer there. That's the first mistake, and kind of 2 minutes in, that's not great, is it? And my glasses are kind of the screws coming out a bit on one side. So if they suddenly dip, don't think it's the camera, it's not, it's just these. I need them to read, unfortunately. So yeah, I'll read the questions out. There's 50 of them. When I've done these on kind of Audacity for Spotify and Amazon and Apple, the whole thing lasts around 42 minutes in total. So that's reading off the 50 questions. I'll give it a short pause. I mean, I'm not really going to pause it, but you guys can. And then I'll read out the answers. And then, yeah, just a bit of feedback, and I'll give you some details on the socials, where we are on kind of TikTok and Instagram and things. And it'd just be great to get some feedback from you, and I hope you enjoy it. You know, I know it's unusual for a Brit to be doing things on The Office, but it's not just this. There's The Office, Friends, Modern Family, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I'm going to put a post out about a couple of others. I've never watched, like, How I Met Your Mother or anything like that, so that could come in time, but there'll be some core quizzes there, and there'll be 2 parts. This is part 1, and on this one, there's 89 points available in total. So, yeah, whenever you're ready. I've not done the timer thing before, so I'm going to read the questions out, and it should be like an 8-second timer, which you'll be here on this little mic here, and that pen's just fallen off there as well. Anyway, it's good fun. It's funny anyway, so let's get on with it. Okay, so question 1. When Jim decides to dress up as Dwight for a prank, what is the first item he buys? Question 2. What is the name of the handbag sales rep Michael wants to give a lift home to, but she ends up dating Jim? 1 point for her first name, 2 points for her full name. So that's a 2-point question. Question 3. Which colour, apart from green, does Angela hate and why? Difficult one, this, isn't it? Point for each. Question 4. What is the name of the new website which is plagued by problems created by Ryan Howard during his brief and chaotic time as Dunder Mifflin Vice President? Question 5. Who does Michael ask to interpret Jan's performance review voicemail message? 1 point for the name and an extra 2 points for the 2 reasons or why. Question 6. How does Kevin describe the 5 companies that make up Scranton Business Park? And an extra point for why he and Andy hold the meeting with them. Question 7. Where do Jim and Pam have their real wedding? Question 8. Dunder Mifflin's accountancy team are Oscar, Angela and Kevin, but 2 other characters have worked in the accounts department over the show's duration. Who are they? And you get 5 points for each character correctly named. First names on this is perfectly fine. Glasses are slipping, aren't they? Whoa there. So yeah, 10 points on this question. Go for it. 10 points. No, it's 5. 5 points plus another 5 is 10 points. Yeah, I'm so clever. Whoa there. Whoa. And question 9. According to Dwight K. Schrute, people who can't farm what? I'll give you a clue. It's Latin for salt. Question 10. What is written on the top of the tower that is shown during the show's intro? Question 11. What is the name of the cat Dwight gives Angela after euthanizing Sprinkles? And after she rejects it, where does Dwight leave it or dump it? Point for each answer, 2-point question on that one. Question 12. What room in Jim and Pam's house does Dwight decide to rip out and renovate while they are at the hospital? And why? 2-point question. Question 13. What does David Wallace invent while unemployed and stuck at home? For an extra 2 bonus points, who does he sell the idea to and for how much? It's a difficult one, this, innit? But go for it. 3 points in total. Sorry, it is difficult, that. Or is it? Let me know. Question 14. Michael and D'Angelo believe it is impossible to get addicted to what drink? I don't think they're right with that either. Question 15. Who does Michael tell he can bench press 190 pounds and when does he say it? Point for each, 2-point question in total. Question 17. What 2 events does Schrute Farms hold during the show's running? Point for each. Have a good think about it. One, yeah, it's quite easy. 2 points in 2 points in total. Go for it. Question 18. According to Jim, Michael spends most of his time procrastinating and doing what other thing? Time of things looking quite well, isn't it? The kiss of death. Question 19. In the quite frankly underrated movie, which how it didn't get an Oscar is beyond me, Threat Level Midnight, directed and starring Michael Gary Scott, what is the name of Michael Scarn's robot butler? Question 20. While Jim is in Philly, Pam rings him to ask if he sent Dwight on a quest for the Holy Grail. But what does Jim name this quest? Just makes you think of the episodes. This is crazy. So funny. Question 21. Who does Dwight save after receiving a fax from future Dwight, and for what reason? Point for each, 2 points in total. Question 22. On Halloween, which 3 characters dress as the Joker? Point for each, 3 points in total. Yes, go for it. Question 23. Dwight and Stanley prank Jim into providing them with what tasty treat? Bonus point for the phrase Stanley shouts out to make it seem like he is enjoying the joke. Question 24. In the costume contest, what does Stanley dress up as? Question 25. Whose car license plate reads, quote, WL Hung? Question 26. What is the name of Oscar's boyfriend who Michael thinks is his roommate? Whoopsie. Question 27. Where is the Sabre head office located? And for a bonus point, which actor fronts their corporate videos? Sorry. Question 28. Kelly gave away a gift to everyone who attended her talent show theme party. But what was the gift? Bonus point for the 2 people who didn't actually get a gift. Whoops. Question 29. Which contest hosted by a new paper supplier for Dunder Mifflin does Dwight win? Bonus point for who comes second. That doesn't work, by the way. Well, it does when it's plugged in. That does. Question 30. In the Jumble Sale episode held in the warehouse, Jim pranks Dwight with magic beans. But what is the name of these magical beans? Question 31. Michael eats a family-sized portion of a dish, then falls asleep, prompting the office to prank him into them finishing early. But what dish did Michael eat? Question 32. What country does Jim tell Pam he is going to visit in an attempt to miss Pam and Roy's wedding? Question 33. The break room hosts the Finer Things Club, but who are its 3 founding members? Bonus point for who tries to work their way into this club of finery. 2 point question in total. Go for it. Question 34. Stanley Hudson, not Stanley Hudson, Stanley Hudson takes an item with him into every conference room meeting, but what is it? Some of them were very easy. Question 35. When the job at corporate comes up, which 3 Scranton employees travel to New York for an interview with Mr. David Wallace? Question 36. When Angela and Dwight enter into a contract for Angela to bear... When Angela and Dwight enter into a contract for Angela to bear his child, what drink does Dwight insist Angela drink as part of the contract? Sorry. Question 37. What is Carol wearing when Michael asks her to marry him at the Diwali party? Good episode. Question 38. What time does the Michael Scott Paper Company delivery shift start? This is tough. Bonus point for what organisation does Pam think the van used to belong to? Sorry. Question 39. At Pam and Jim's hotel for the wedding... At Pam and Jim's hotel for the wedding guests, what item of Kevin's wardrobe do the reception staff inform him that they had to incinerate? And a bonus point for what does Kevin use as a replacement? Question 40. After the watermark scandal, Michael films an apology video, but what does he say they are trying to make him? Got to be quite specific with this, or Pacific. That might give you a clue to the answer. Question 41. Right, this one's 4-point question in total. 4 people have been Dunder Mifflin CEO during the show's running. Name them. I don't think you'll get all 4. If you do get all 4, you are a very, very clever sausage, or clever sausages indeed. So 4 points in total for that one. Taking time and time. Question 42. When Andy, Nard Dog, gets back from anger management after punching a hole in the drywall in the office, he has a new name, but what is his new name? Question 43. At the Glee party in Gabe's apartment, Andy eats too many what, which makes him go a bit crazy, then quite very sick. Question 44. Erin and Kelly start a girl group, but what is it called? Question 45. In the final episode, why does Dwight choose to fire both Jim and Pam? Question 46. 2 characters ingest, by different means, Dwight's bull tranquilizer in the break room, but who are they and how? So the character and how, character and how. 4 points in total. Go for it. Question 47. What is the name of Andy's a cappella group? Relaxing into it a bit more now. Question 48. When Oscar is trying to explain what a surplus is to Michael, what does he say his parents give $10 to start? Question 49. Which 2 characters try to stop Meredith seducing Danny Cordray when they are trying to do the fake pitch to steal his sales tactics? Bonus point for what does Meredith tell Danny what their occupation is, what they do? 3 points in total. Right, final question. Question 50. What item of food does Daryl eat every single day? Every single day at work. I don't know about weekends, but I would imagine that he does that as well. So last question, question 50, 1 point. Right, okay, so I'm going to pause it and then restart it and do the answers. But that's part 1. That's 50 questions. So I don't know, grab a drink, get your ideas together, and I will be back in a moment. Right, guys, we're back with the answers. So literally, I'm just going to read them out. I'm not going to do a timer in between them. There's no point. My glasses are broke. I'm so upset. But no, I'm just going to read them out. I'll leave it a couple of seconds before I leave each answer. You can pause it if that's not enough time. But let's get through them. Right, so question 1. When Jim decides to dress up as Dwight for a prank, what is the first item he buys? The answer is glasses. Question 2. What is the name of the handbag sales rep Michael wants to give a lift home to? That's Katie. Or full name, Katie Moore. Question 3. Which colour apart from green does Angela hate and why? That's orange, and because it's whorish. Question 4. What is the name of the new website, Played by Problems, created by Ryan Howard? The answer to that is Dunder Mifflin Infinity. Question 5. Who does Michael ask to interpret Jan's performance review? The answer is Pam, and it's because she's trustworthy and a woman. So 3 points on that. Just remember on this is 80. I've worked out 89 in total points. Question 6. How does Kevin describe the 5 companies that make up the Scranton Business Park? The answer to that is the 5 families, and because W.B. Jones staff are taking up all the business centre parking spaces. Question 7. Where do Jim and Pam have their real wedding? Niagara Falls. Question 8. Dunder Mifflin's accountancy team are... So this is the one with the 2 extras. So Dunder Mifflin's accountancy team are Oscar, Angela and Kevin. The other 2 characters that have worked in accounts are Hannah and Dakota. Hannah was the one with the baby that Creed used to watch her breastfeed. We won't get into that though. Let's not get into that right now. Question 9, according to Dwight K. Schrute, people who can't farm what? The answer is celery. Question 10, what is written on the top of the tower that is shown during the show's intro? Pen paper, Penn paper. Question 11, what is the name of the cat Dwight gives Angela after euthanizing Sprinkles. That's garbage, and he doesn't leave it, does he? He dumps it in Vance Refrigeration's office. 2 points on that. Question 12. What room in Jim and Pam's house does Dwight rip out and why? And that's the kitchen, and because of mould. What does David Wallace invent while unemployed and stuck at home? The answer is a child's toy vacuum called Suck It. I'm doing the song in my head. I'm not going to do it though. I'm not, don't make me do it. And he sells it to the US military for $20 million. Question 14. Michael and D'Angelo believe it is impossible to get addicted to what drink? Answer is vodka. Question 15. Who does Michael tell he can bench press 190 pounds? And when? And that's Pam and during her performance review. Question 16. Over a time in the show, which three characters does Erin Hannon date? Bonus point for the character who tries to woo her after she wants a waffle in the hotel. That's Andy, Gabe and Pete, and Ryan in the hotel. Question 17. What two events does Fruit Farms hold during the show's running? Andy's garden party and Dwight and Angela's wedding. Question 18. According to Jim, Michael spends most of his time procrastinating and doing what other thing? Distracting others. In the quite frankly underrated movie Threat Level Midnight, what is the name of Michael Scarn's robot butler? Samuel L. Chang. Question 20. While Jim is in Philly, Pam rings him to ask if he sent Dwight on a quest for the Holy Grail. What is the name of this quest? Answer is the Dunder Code. Question 21. Who does Dwight save after receiving a fax from future Dwight? And for what reason? Answer is Stanley, and because the coffee is poisoned. Question 22. On Halloween, which three characters dress as the Joker? That is Dwight, Kevin, and Creed. Question 23. Dwight and Stanley prank Jim into providing them with what tasty treat? And what's the phrase Stanley keeps shouting out? It is meatballs, and you've been meatballed. Won't do the voice again. In fact, he probably didn't even tell what I said. You've been meatballed. That is the answer. Question 24. In the costume contest, what does Stanley dress up as? Answer is a samurai. Question 25. Whose car license plate reads W.L. Hung? That would be Mr. Todd Packer. Question 26. What is the name of Oscar's boyfriend who Michael thinks is his roommate? Answer is Gil. Question 27. Where is the Sabre head office located and who fronts her corporate videos? And the answer is Tallahassee, Florida. Suppose Florida will work for that. And Christian Slater. Question 28. Kelly gave away a gift to everyone who attended her talent show theme party. But what was the gift? Bonus point for the two people who didn't get a gift. A mug with their face on, with a star in the background, I think, yes. And it was Jim and Dwight who didn't. Jim and Dwight didn't also affected something else. This isn't part of the quiz, by the way, but I've just remembered that Jim and Dwight not getting that gift affects something else in the show a little bit further down the line. So that's just a freebie in there. Question 29. Which contest hosted by a new paper supplier for Dunder Mifflin does Dwight win? Who comes second? It's a paper plane throwing contest, and Angela comes second. Question 30. In the Jumble Sale episode held in the warehouse, Jim pranks Dwight with magic beans, but what are the names of these magical beans? Professor Copperfield's Miracle Legumes. Question 31. Michael eats a family portion of a dish, then falls asleep, prompting the office to prank him into them all finishing early. But what dish did Michael eat? That is a full family-size chicken pot pie. Question 32. What country does Jim tell Pam he's going to visit in an attempt to miss Pam and Roy's wedding? Australia. Question 33, the break room hosts a Finer Things Club. 3 members and who tries to worm their way in. 3 members are Pam, Oscar and Toby, and Nad Dog tries to get into the club but fails. Question 34, Stanley Hudson takes an item with him into every conference room meeting, but what is it? It's his crossword puzzle book. Question 35, when the job at corporate comes up, which 3 Scranton employees travel to New York for an interview with David Wallace? New York. Michael, Jim and Karen. Question 36, when Angela and Dwight enter into a contract for Angela to bear his child, what drink does Dwight insist Angela have as part of the contract? That's obviously beet juice. Question 37, what is Carol wearing when Michael asks her to marry him at the Diwali party? Carol is dressed as a cheerleader. Question 38, what time does the Michael Scott Paper Company delivery shift start? Bonus point for who did Pam think the van used to belong to. The delivery shift starts at 4:30 a.m. and the Korean church. Question 39, at Pam and Jim's hotel for the wedding guests, what item of Kevin's wardrobe do they have to incinerate and what does he use as a replacement? That is Kevin's shoes, and he uses 2 empty tissue boxes as replacements. And if you remember at the end, they were quite the talking point. And he got some numbers, but not enough to make a full phone number. Question 40. After the watermark scandal, Michael films an apology video, but what does he say they are trying to make him? This has got to be specific. It's got to be right. So they try and make him, in his words, an scapegoat. Not a scapegoat, an scapegoat. Question 41. Remember, this one's 4 points. 4 people have been Dunder Mifflin CEO during the show's running. Name them. If you get the 4th one, honestly, it's really good because I think he's only mentioned twice in the entire running of the show. So it's David Wallace, Joe Bennett, Robert California, and Alan Brand. And I think it's the only time he gets mentioned is it's when they're shutting the company down and they drive Michael to New York in the limousine and everyone goes mental. I think that's the only time he's mentioned, but tell me if I'm wrong. Question 42, when Andy Bernard gets back from anger management after punching a hole in the office drywall, he has a new name. That name is Drew. Question 43, at the Glee party in Gabe's apartment, Andy eats too many what, which makes him go crazy and sick? Seahorse, or seahorses, or seahorse powder. It's seahorse anyway. Question 44, Erin and Kelly start a girl group, but what is it called? Subtle sexuality. Ugh, I'm never saying that again. In fact, no, I'm not. No, should I? Question 44, Erin and Kelly start a girl group, but what is it called? Subtle sexuality. Question 45, in the final episode, why does Dwight choose to fire both Jim and Pam? So they get severance pay. Question 46, 2 characters ingest... Sorry, it gets me every time, this one. 2 characters ingest Dwight's bull tranquilizer in the break room, but who are they and how? That's Stanley via a dart from Dwight's dart gun and Meredith by squeezing it into her drink. I think specifically it's her coffee. Question 47, what is the name of Andy's a cappella group? Come on, guys. Here comes treble. Question 48, when Oscar is trying to explain what a surplus is to Michael, what does he say his parents give $10 to start? A lemonade start. And remember, next year, he'll be 6. Question 49, which 2 characters try to stop Meredith seducing Danny Cordray when they are trying to do the fake pitch to steal his sales tactics? I need to get more professional. I don't care, actually. It is what it is. Bonus point for what does Meredith tell Danny what their job is. So it's Ryan and Oscar, and she says they are cleaners or cleaning men. Last question, what item of food does Daryl eat every day? Answer is a blueberry muffin. Done. 50 questions. Genuinely, I hope you enjoyed it. Any feedback? None on the glasses. I told you about that at the beginning, so just need to deal with that. It's not great. Nearly set the timer off on the thing again. I'm sure they'll get smoother. I'm sure they'll get better. There is a part 2 to this one. I'll leave a little, like a thumbnail at the end, just with where we are on Instagram and TikTok. Obviously, if you're watching this on YouTube, you know where we are, but I've recorded these on Spotify, Amazon, Apple, Podbean. I know in America, and I think in America and Canada, iHeartRadio is very popular, so I think they're on that as well. But you'll have to check. I'm sure they are. We don't get that over here, so I don't know. But look, it's I really enjoy doing it. I'm really passionate about American sitcoms and UK sitcoms, but again, I think I'm going to stick with The Office and Friends and Modern Family and things for the minute. But please like, follow, share it, and any feedback you've got, I really, really would appreciate it. And I really, even if I get one person viewing it and they enjoy it, that's enough for me. And from this Brit from Manchester, England, I bid you goodbye at 17:50 on a Saturday evening. Enjoy whatever you're doing tonight, this afternoon, and I love you loads. Take care.